Just before Nicholas Haslam got up to speak at London Design Week in Chelsea Harbour last September, two women who had travelled to London specially to hear him sat down in front of me. "I am really looking forward to this," said one. "It's going to be such fun." Fun is exactly what Nicky brings to life on at least 3 continents. But as well as the witty and party-fresh persona, there is another Nicky Haslam, a thoughtful, rather bookish character who is as happy reading in the library of his exquisite hunting lodge as he is to be traveling to a party in Manhattan, the south of France, or St. Petersburg. He is a man of high standards, which, like all truly civilized people, he applies first to his own work and behavior. He admires people for what they are, their curiosity and energy, not their background or money. It is this side of Nicky, the side that groans at the radio when the contestants around Britain quiz don't know something that emerges in his memoir, Redeeming Features, to be published later in the year. He is a fluent writer, as well as someone who thinks in spatial terms and has an unrivaled knowledge of design and architecture. He admits that writing comes much less easily than design, but has enjoyed the process of bringing his life together in print, including encounters with the likes of Sir John Gielgud, the Duchess of Windsor, Andy Warhol, and Tallulah Bankhead. Nicky has always been surrounded by beauty and interesting people. He grew up at Great Hundredge Manor, a William and Mary house in Buckinghamshire, which, David Hicks once said, contained some of the best rooms in England. At the age of 11 he was struck down with polio. For almost 3 years he lay at home, encased in plaster and looking at the ceiling, able to move only his arms. At that very early age he was forced back on his own resources in a way that most people don't experience even in adulthood. As well as giving him considerable inner reliance, the illness also had the effect of insulating him from his own generation. "My mother would roll up the carpet of my room and dance to records with her friends," he says. "I was surrounded by her generation and their conversation." In an inspired move, his parents commissioned a large-scale doll's house to be made by Lavender Herbert, daughter of the writer and lawyer former A.P. Herbert, which could be wheeled across Nicky's bed, allowing him to arrange and rearrange the rooms as the mood took him. Similarly, his uncle invented a mechanical theatre for him which, at the press of a button, performed whole operas. From that moment, experimenting in miniature, he began to understand the challenges of organizing interior spaces. A handsome vicarage with elegantly layered interiors by Max Rollin. When he was 13, Wyatt recovered from polio and, having acquired a sophistication beyond his years, he went to Eton. There, he decorated his study with faux ocelot curtains, paper plumes and an artificial grass carpet. He won several art prizes. But he was perhaps always happiest with an older generation. He was befriended and influenced by such style icons as Lady Diana Cooper, Chips Channon, Oliver Messel and Cecil Beaton, of whom he does an excellent imitation. He reveled in their recollections and, with their encouragement and introductions, visited the great houses of Europe, absorbing the style and aesthetics of the past. After school and a mere 3-week acquaintance with art college, he came to London. His contemporaries, now the establishment of taste and creativity, were then the bright young things of the 60s, among them Christopher Gibbs, Min Hogg, David Bailey, and Jean Shrimpton. Many artists, filmmakers, actors and photographers became and remain his friends. He worked in publishing rather than interiors and lived in a workman's cottage in run-down Waterloo, painting his tiny drawing room with red tar paint in lieu of lacquer. He joined British Vogue, and later moved to New York to work under the legendary Diana Vreeland at US Vogue. "She was a wonderful person to work for. She taught me a lot, including how to achieve the best red," he recalls. "Go and get me a red," she once demanded. "I want one with no blue in it, and," she added, "with no orange." Nicky worked with Andy Warhol and collaborated with photographer Richard Avedon on a unique issue of Harper's Bazaar before leaving New York to become a cowboy in Arizona for 6 years. "I can still throw a lasso. I think," he laughs. Afterwards, 2 years in Hollywood, which he loved, were brought to an end when Alexander Hesketh, who had seen his apartment in New York, asked him back to England in order to decorate a new house he had bought. Today, Nicky has 20 projects on the go at any one time, most of them in this country, the others in Russia, Switzerland and the south of France. His team of young designers obviously adore him. His instinctive understanding of a room gives him the ability to try to succeed where others might fail. We are always encouraged to look at things in a different way, explains Jenna Quinn, who has been with him for 8 years. Could I do the same? Maybe after many years, but there will never be another Nicky. Nicky's firm, NH Design, is based in Belgravia, within walking distance of his flat opposite the Natural History Museum in Kensington. The flat is wonderfully convenient for the office, and it contains my clothes, he says. Convenient and small it may be, but it still bears the hand of a master. 4 canvas-covered stools are painted with designs which form a Picasso painting when they are pushed together. He copied the original himself. A painting, consisting of a wonderfully bubbly melange of color and texture, hangs over the deep, velvet sofa in the sitting room. One friend, who should know better, thought it could be by the Chapman brothers. Nicky laughs. She was only mildly put out when she discovered that it is a slab of reconstituted foam rubber, which came as packaging for a chandelier, and which I framed. Books cover every surface, with post-it notes marking passages to which he refers time and time again, to inspire, interest or amuse him. Home, however, is essentially the hunting lodge in Hampshire, previously the home of John Fowler, which Nicky rents from the National Trust. Given his demanding schedule, it isn't surprising that the hunting lodge plays such an important role in his life. It was built for Henry VII when all the land between Winchester and Windsor was a royal forest, and the Jacobean facade was added in 1620. It is rumored that Catherine of Aragon met her first husband, Prince Arthur, there. Although the rooms are small, Nicky loves pieces on a grand scale. I think the cluttered look works here. You can appreciate everything so much better, he says. Much of the layout and decoration has been kept as it was in John Fowler's day, and where necessary Nicky has replicated carpets, large-scale wallpapers and bordered curtains. The dining room is the only big alteration. It used to be divided into 2 rooms, one half of which was the staff kitchen, while John Fowler ate at a circular table in the inner hall. Setting is all important, Sacheverell Sitwell once wrote that, in 20s Romania, the Waiwodi family traveled to their parliament in white sleighs drawn by deer with gilded antlers. Isn't that a wonderful picture? The love of camp is always there. But it masks another truth about Nicky Haslam. Much as he loves what is new and exciting, he is also attached to the knowledge handed down to him, almost as the personal legacies of the great. In a very real sense, he represents a kind of discrete continuity in